when people are here for a generation or two, they feel like it's like their country and not the others. But like that's just not true. This nation was built on immigrants.
Spencer, it is a joy to speak with you. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I really appreciate you talking about the film.
Honestly, Compatriots is so much fun. I mean, it's dark in spaces,
Yeah.
um, but it is just a beautiful film. Where did it come from?
Yeah, so the film originates with conversations with my best friend Alberto. So I met Alberto in middle school. He had, he acted in all sorts of my skits as I was a budding filmmaker in high school. And he told me senior year in high school that he was a dreamer. So he was brought to this country at a very young age. And thankfully, DACA allowed him to have a temporary protected status in this country. As the years went on, I went off to college, film school. We talked about, his status, what the deals were with it, and that there was basically no pathway to citizenship, and we wanted to talk about that. So about 10 years ago, I put my thoughts, my emotions down on paper, and through a lot of late night Facebook Messenger chats back and forth between Alberto and I. We shot the movie 2 years ago, and yeah, we kept saying during the whole process, like, we hope we don't have to make this movie. We hope, I work on the script for 6 years and something changes and the film is no longer relevant. And we've wound up in an environment where the film is as relevant as it ever possibly could be. So yeah, I'm excited to get the film out into the world and hopefully show people a slice of life that they don't typically get to see.
Well, that was actually the number one thing I wanted to ask you about first, is because this film feels like it came together in the last 8 months.
Yeah.
But you've been working on it for 6 years? Like, this is incredible timing for a film like this.
Yeah. It was yeah, very, very apt. Like I was saying, we kind of hoped it didn't have to come to
Yeah.
fruition. And yeah, we shot it 2 years ago. Every, year of writing the screenplay, something little changed, and something that Alberto and I really or something we were hoping to get was, hey, even if something does maybe change, how do we write this so that it still is a relevant film, and not doesn't become a period piece or something. And yeah, I think, we sort of nailed that, and it's something that is very, yeah, it feels like we learned something and shot it, 6 weeks ago or something. But no, we shot it 2 years ago and edited over the course of a year and have been on a year-long festival run. So it's been a process.
That's amazing because I mean I've said this about people who've made films before. I said it feels current. This feels immediate, and that is unusual, for any sort of comedy with with conversations, deeper political conversations. It's unusual to have it feel so immediate.
Yeah.
And but there's a wonderful conversation going on here about claiming our identity. And I was wondering what was it about celebrating and claiming our identity that you wanted, why that was so important to put into the film?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the kind of what they say, central dramatic question was, what if you couldn't be who you were?
Mm.
And how would that affect you? And what if your friends could be who they were? And by just based off, where you were born and not who you feel like you are, that's what we were going for. This question about how are you able to, survive in a way that you can't express your deepest emotions, your deepest feelings, because others identify you as other. And that was really important to us to get across, was this struggle of identity. And who we think we are and how that matches up with how the world sees us.
Which is fascinating too, because like yeah, I mean we see this conversation. I think Javi actually says at one point, even if I became a citizen, I'll never be viewed as an American.
Yeah.
And I wondered what that line means because I mean certainly there's a conversation about belonging that's going on here and loving the other. But that's a very interesting line to draw. You know, we think of being an American citizen, but it's like I may be a citizen, but I'm never going to be viewed as an American.
Yeah. I think that that is some deep-seated stuff in our country. And that's how a lot of people in Javi's shoes feel. They feel like they're othered, even though they feel so connected to America, and America has allowed them, to create their own business or, follow, they love the Red Sox. We're from Boston. They love the Red Sox. They love the Patriots. Like, they love apple pie or whatever you need to be American. But it's crazy because America was built on immigrants. I mean, every single one of us, for the most part, they're obviously Native Americans, but for most of us who are here in this country, one of our ancestors came here not too long ago. My ancestors came here in the early 1900s, avoiding the rise of anti-Semitism in Poland and Lithuania. And we know what happens when the U.S. shut off that, I'll say supply, but it was shut off that valve. They stopped, Jews coming over from those countries in the early 1940s, and we know what happened. And so many people who have come here have stories of their ancestors and how they got here. And for some reason, once we're here for a generation or two, I'm saying we're as like a general thing, but for when people are here for a generation or two, they feel like it's like their country and not the others. But like that's just not true. This nation was built on immigrants, and a lot of people in this country forget that. And so that's kind of what that line was driving at.
Yeah, and belonging. Like you
Yeah.
said, this is what it, bring us your huddled and tired masses, if I'm saying the quote properly.
Yeah.
But bring everybody in and let's come together. And it's like that comes up. I think that's portrayed beautifully in Compatriots.
Thanks.
But it's something that is a struggle. It is a struggle there as well.
And you see it in in Ryan. And when I first originally wrote Ryan, he was kind of like your typical high school film jock bully. And I realized that that's not what it is. There's something different. There's an undercurrent in the society that are people who feel like they've been trodden on, and they turn to, the person next to them instead of looking, in most cases up at the people who are actually, pushing them down. And I noticed this over and over and over again. And I said that, that's the person who's gonna try to get Javi, is the person who feels like, based on his own circumstances of life, how he was born, it's easier to look for someone else to blame than it is to look inward. And I think we're seeing that a lot in this country.
Yeah, yeah. What was the vibe like on set? And I say that because this film is very sweet and it is funny. Like this is a film that balances its tones very well. Like you've got this rom-com
Mm.
triumvirate, if you will, that's happening. You've got these bits of hijinks, you've got romantic moments, and you're dealing with these difficult topics. So what were those conversations like with your cast and crew as you were making this film?
Yeah, thanks for asking that, because we had the most fun on set. I think anyone's ever had on set. I mean, the gay bar dancing scene, I had so many crew members coming up to me saying that was the best day I've ever had on set. It was so much fun. We really we didn't want to kill anybody, so we stuck to 10-hour days. So everyone was like fairly well rested. I mean, in the film industry, I mean, a lot of these crew members can be working I mean, you could be shooting for 16 hours. and the people are sleeping like 2 hours on the side of the road type of thing. And we said, hey, we're making a small independent film, but we can shoot a lot of pages quickly. And so let's not kill everyone and let's make sure everyone comes in and has a good time. So it honestly had a very summer camp feel. We shot it in kind of the early summer, and a lot of people kept saying Camp Patriots, and some of the crew members made up stickers. And yeah, it was a joyous experience because I think people recognized I was able to tell people what the end product, what my vision was going to be, and I think people saw that. So we have a lot of bloopers. Honestly, one of the funniest, the most we laughed on set was the end green card immigration uh, review scenes, the interrogation. One because the Becky who plays the immigration officer Jackie was hilarious, and two, like the tension was so palpable
Mm.
that you couldn't help but laugh and have a good time, and you knew what we were doing was gonna work so well. And yeah, it was, oh God, take me back to those days because those 20 days that we shot the film in June of 2 years ago was the most fun I think I've ever had.
I love that. And like I said, that shows up on screen.
Yeah.
You see some fun relationships with the characters. I know we just have to wrap, but and I appreciate the chance to speak with you, Spencer. But what do you hope people take away from the Compatriots?
Yeah, thanks. I hope that people look to Javi as a friend. I thankfully have Alberto, and I have been able to see what he goes through, but not a lot of people have a friend like Javi, and or they know that someone is going through something like this. There's, a couple million people just like Javi who are your nurses and your teachers, and they're your first responders. They're all around us. They're our compatriots. And I hope people can watch this and understand what they're going through and look for ways to help them, whether that's, supporting an immigration relief fund or just standing up for somebody can go a long way. So, yeah, I really hope that everyone can get to see this film and learn something and also laugh along the way because it is fun.
I love that. I love that. I appreciate the chance to speak with you. Thank you, Spencer Cohen, director of the Compatriots. Thank you so much, Spencer. Have a great
Yeah,
day.
yeah, thanks, Steve.